While this last minute is going, if you can hear me, give me a thumbs up. Still waiting on those to come in and share the post. And if you can hear me, give me a thumbs up, making sure we're good. Making sure we're good. Wow, I think we are. And still getting everything together. Hope y'all are having a wonderful wonderful Wednesday. Yeah, so I'm listening to it. I think we're good on the sound. I think we are great on the sound. And good evening. It is 6:29, almost 6:30. And while we're waiting on some more people and our members to get off work, we're going to go ahead and get started. Good thing about virtual is you can start on time, and whoever can't come, they'll come, and they can watch it later. So it's just a blessing to be here, blessing to be alive, making sure we're good. Okay, the sound is good. Everything is wonderful. So we're going to go ahead and open up with a quick prayer. God, thank you for being here. Thank you for blessing us. Thank you for this virtual Bible study. We ask you to open our hearts and ears that we may receive what you have for us. Those who want to tune in virtually, those who can't for whatever reason right now, bless them. And whenever they do come back and watch it, touch them and bless them in the same way we have on the live. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. A couple of updates. Keep Deacon McNeil and Miss Annette, who's on the usher board, his wife, in prayer. I'm not going to say anything right now. They may not want me to say anything, but just keep them in prayer, and just pray for. And so that's an update. And keep Sister Johnson in your prayer, Mother Ivory, Brittany, and Brenda, and their family, and all of our mothers, Mother Josephine Mitchell, Mother Harvey. Just keep them all in your prayers. All of our mothers, as they're getting up in age and they're still capable and moving, but just pray for them. We don't want to forget about them. So I think that's it. If you have anybody that needs prayer, please text it to me so that we can make sure we're not forgetting about anybody and making sure everyone is good. All right, let's hop right into it. We got a good one today. We have a good one today, y'all. Go ahead and find it. Second Kings. Go ahead and find it. Second Kings. Chapter 5. 2 Kings, chapter 5. 2 Kings, chapter 5. Go ahead and find it. 2 Kings, chapter 5. And if you were listening Sunday, we came from 2 Kings, chapter 4, right? And about the prophet Elisha bringing a mother's son back to life that God had promised her that she would have. But the baby died. She called on Elisha, and he brought the baby back to life. Long story short, you can go back and watch the sermon or go back and read it for yourself for a full update on what we talked about. But if you keep on reading, scoot on over to chapter 5. That was chapter 4. Scoot on over to chapter 5, and you will see God is continuously working miracles. And that is what I believe we so miss in our generation today, right? Is the aspect of God still being a miracle working God, right? God being a miracle working God, God being a God who can do the unthinkable, the impossible. Listen to this. When I was growing up, I looked forward to going to church. I looked forward to Sunday morning service. I looked forward to being there amongst the saints. I looked forward to that. As boring as church was sometimes, I still had an excitement about Sunday morning service. Here's why. Here's one reason why. You didn't know what God was going to do. Man, to see sisters and mothers get up and testify about the miraculous power of God. I saw mothers come into church on walkers, and they weren't playing. This weren't no hoax. They were not playing. They were on walkers. For real, for real. I saw mothers come in on walkers and leave out and literally forget they had the walker. Because somewhere throughout the service, they begin to praise God and worship God, and that miraculous healing power started to overcome them. I'm telling you, I've seen mothers forget the walker was in the back of the church, or forget the walker was sitting right beside them. I've seen it with my own eyes. I told you about the miraculous power when my mother prayed about my brother's tumor on his hand. And they went from going to cut the whole finger off to where we can just get the tumor off. I've seen somebody so sick that the parents did not take him to the hospital. This is true story. God, if I'm lying, I'm dying. They did not. He was so sick, they didn't. Now, you would have thought they would have took him to the hospital. They didn't even take this man to the hospital. I won't say his name. He may not want his name out there. But when I was a boy, a child, a teenage boy, his mom and dad drug him in the church, dragged him in the church, not the hospital. They didn't even take him to the hospital. Can you imagine having such a faith that your son is so sick, you don't drag him to the hospital, you drag him to church? And Bishop laid his hands on him, put that oil on him and prayed for him. That joker struck out running. It wasn't even 2 minutes between him being dragged in church, couldn't walk. And 2 to 3 minutes after Bishop prayed for him, he struck out running in the church. That miraculous power is what we have lost in the church, I believe. Or that expectation. I believe we are in the generation, I'm going to get to the text, I'm just prepping us. I believe we are in the generation of what the apostle talks about, having a form of godliness, but denying the power thereof. Oh, we go to church. We're going to shout. We're going to shout. We're going to sing. We're going to praise. We're going to, if it comes down to shouting, singing, praising, we got an A+ in the black church. We got it. We got it in the black church. As Dr. James Cone said, when it comes to preaching and the hooping and the hollering in the black church and the singing and the dancing, we are the best of the best. We're the cream of the crop. So many words. He didn't say those exact words, but in so many words, he was saying when it comes to hooping and hollering and singing and shouting and dancing, we have produced the best of the best. There is no other culture. There is no other race that can do it like black people. But very few miracles. Now, a lot of education, which is good. I have an education. I have 3 degrees. Very little miracles now. We don't read like we used to. We don't. I believe our forefathers and our foremothers tried their best, as hypocritical as they were sometimes, as mean as they were at times. I believe that they still, in their heart of hearts, try to live to a standard. We just do whatever we want to do now. There used to be a time, in my experience, that the church influenced the world. There used to be a time where when you walk past somebody, they put the cigarette out, or they at least put it behind their back, or they took the hat off when a church person was coming, when a holy person was coming. But now we get out of church like we light the cigarette up on the parking lot. We take a hit of filth on the lot. We have lost the miraculous working power of the church. We have lost it. And I'm prepping us for the text because the text is God working miracles. What we preached on Sunday was God working the miracles. What we're going to talk about tonight is God working miracles. We still serve a miracle working God. Can't explain it. I can't put two and two together with the miracles, but I know God did it. That kind of God. I don't know how it happened. All I can tell you is who. I can't explain the why. No, I could just tell you who did it. I'm talking about those kind of testimonies where money is not involved, where intellect is not involved to a degree, where it was completely God who did it. And you know it was not no hoax. You know it was not something just no. I'm telling you right now that I took my foot off the brakes of a car in 2005 and my mother called on the name of Jesus on the expressway. And when she called Jesus the first time, instead of hitting the 18-wheeler, we swerved to the left. And then she called Jesus again. And then she called him a third time. My foot was off the brakes. You can believe that or not. My foot was off the brakes. And my mother called Jesus the third time and that car stopped. And I'm going to look you right in your camera and tell you that wasn't no lie. That happened. Miracles. Miracles. I used to be afraid to tell that because I used to say, nah, people not going to believe that. It's not for you to believe. It's for me to tell about the power of God. Whether you believe it or not, it happened. All right. Whether you believe it or not, it happened. Whether you saw it or not, it happened. I'm telling you what happened. My mother called Jesus and that car stopped and my foot was off the brakes. I couldn't wait to get to church to tell that one. So 2 Kings chapter 1, 2 Kings chapter 1, 2 Kings chapter 5, verse 1, and it states in the New Living Translation, the king of Aram had great admiration for Naaman, the commander of his army, because through him the Lord had given Aram great victories. But though Naaman was a mighty warrior, he suffered from leprosy. Verse 2, at this time, Aramean raiders had invaded the land of Israel, and among the captives was a young girl who had been given Naaman's wife as a maid. Verse 3, one day the girl said to her mistress, I wish my master would go to see the prophet in Samaria. He would heal him of his leprosy. Now watch this here, just a little background. We have the title of the Bible study is called A Mysterious Miracle. Here's why it's mysterious. The king of Aram and Naaman, who is his chief commander of the army, are enemies of Israel. And the scripture says in verse 1 that God will give Naaman victory in war. Why would God give the enemies of God's people victory over God's people? Or victory just in war in general? Think about it. That got me. God would give him victory at times. And here's the enemies. Sometimes, mysteriously, God will give your enemies victory. But for a purpose. We're going to get to the purpose why God gives them victory. Here's the purpose. Watch this here. Verse 3, one day the girl said to her mistress, I wish my master would go to see the prophet in Samaria. He would heal him of his leprosy. Verse 4, so Naaman told the king what the young girl from Israel had said. Follow me now. Verse 5, go and visit the prophet. The king of Aram told him, I will send a letter of introduction for you to take to the king of Israel. So Naaman started out carrying as gifts 750 pounds of silver, 150 pounds of gold, and 10 sets of clothing. The letter to the king of Israel said this, with this letter I present my servant Naaman. I want you to heal him of leprosy. Let me give you further background. The name Naaman or Naaman rather, means pleasantness. Pleasantness. Now, he's a mighty warrior. He's a man of status. He's a victorious man. His name means pleasantness. He's a wealthy man, but he has a skin condition. He has a lot of money, a lot of wealth, a lot of social status. He's high in command, the highest of the army, right under the king. But yet his name means pleasantness, but his skin condition, one of the worst of that time, was not pleasant. What happens when God, or when your name, or when your reputation is a pleasant one, but your situation is not? Oh my God. You can put that in the comments. Listen, put that in the comments, tweet that, write it, repost it on Facebook, please. Because I'm going to post it tonight. What happens when your reputation is pleasant, but your situation is not? See, Naaman had a lot of money, a lot of wealth, a lot of social status, a lot of power, a lot of victories publicly, but privately he was suffering. How many of us is that today? On Facebook, we got a lot of victories. On Facebook, we got a lot of smiles. On Facebook, we're very happy. On Facebook, the marriage is wonderful, but behind closed doors, you're beating on each other. How many of us have a public reputation that is pleasant, but a private situation that is horrible? Nothing is new under the sun. There are many people who smile in front of people, who come to church with masks on, who come to church smiling, who come to church hugging. This is mental health. May is mental health month. How many people come to church smiling and go home depressed? You've been hearing me say that the past few weeks. How many people come to church and sit on the pew and thank the Lord and get all happy and go right home and deal with their situation that is not so pleasant in private? We got to take the mask off in church and say, Lord, I'm struggling with an illness. I'm struggling with a addiction. I'm struggling with something. I need you to heal me. And here's Naaman struggling with leprosy privately, struggling with a skin disease, but yet he has the victory in war. His name means pleasant. He got a lot of money, good reputation, bad situation. Many of us are in a great area when it comes to reputation. Oh, pastors. Oh, this. But do you struggle with suicidal thoughts? Do you struggle with porn addiction? Do you struggle with multiple women? Do you struggle with drinking? Do you struggle with cheating on your husband? Do you struggle with cheating on your wife? Do you struggle with something privately don't nobody know a thing about, but publicly is a pleasant situation? It looks like, that's why I tell you, you better watch these famous couples that you so easily want to be like. You better watch these famous couples or these folks publicly and talk about these are marriage goals, because behind closed doors, they could be in an unpleasant situation. The only marriage goals you should have is the one when you get married. Public pleasantness, private pain. Let's go. So verse 7 or verse 6, the letter to the king of Israel said, with this letter, I present my servant Naaman. I want you to heal him of leprosy. When the king of Israel read this letter, verse 7, when the king of Israel read the letter, he tore his clothes in dismay and said, am I God? Can I give life and take it away? Why is this man asking me to heal someone with leprosy? I can see that he's just trying to pick a fight with me. So if you go to the end of 1 Kings, the last chapter, or somewhere in there, those last chapters, you would see that they were picking fights with them or waging war with them. And so fast forward to now, he's saying, listen, you just trying to wage war with me how you did my father. The last king, you just trying to wage war with me like you did them picking a fight with us. That's why you asking me to heal him of leprosy. He thought he was just trying to pick a fight with him. Your perception, your past can affect how you view. What you've been through can affect how you view what you're going through. Some of us have blocked our blessing and have blocked the blessings of others because of our past perceptions. Something happened to us in the past, we're going to blame everybody for it. Ain't no good man out here. Ain't no good woman out here. Everybody bad. The dating pool is nasty. Well, if the dating pool is nasty and you in it, that means you nasty too. If marriage ain't nothing and you married, you might want to watch what you're saying. All right. Verse 7, when the king of Israel read the letter, he tore his clothes in dismay and said, am I God that I can give life and take it away? Why is this man asking me to heal someone with leprosy? I can see that he's just trying to pick a fight with me. Verse 8, but Elisha, let me say this real quick. We've been pronouncing this name wrong. In my studies this past couple of days, his name is not Elisha. It's Elisha. Elisha. Say it with me. Elisha. 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 His name is not Elisha. I'm sorry. It's not. We've been saying it wrong. It is Elisha. Elisha. I'm going to keep saying it till we get it in your brains. Elisha. But when Elisha, the man of God, heard that the king of Israel had torn his clothes in dismay, he sent this message to him. Why are you so upset? Why are you agitated? Send Naaman to me, and he will learn that there is a true prophet here in Israel. I told you what was the purpose. What's the purpose of God giving his enemies victory in this particular situation? He gave them victory because God wanted to show who was the true God among people who was not his chosen people. God can work miracles among people that's not church folk. You better stop limiting God miraculous power to just church people. You better stop limiting God's power to just religious folks. You better stop limiting God's power to just folk who can dress right. You better stop limiting God's power. God's power can go beyond any boundaries. In seminary, we call it beyond the margins. Whatever margins we set around people, God can go beyond it. Get your mind off of margins. God can go beyond age margins, ageism, sexism, classism, whatever ism you got. God can go beyond it and still work a miracle. Here's Naaman, who is not an Israelite. He's a citizen of Syria, which is enemies with Israel, at war with Israel. But God allowed them to get the victory so that Naaman could take the girl and the girl could see his condition and then suggest to his wife, I know a man that can heal your condition. See, the old folks used to say, I know a man. I know a man. Is there a balm, not a B-O-M-B? We used to say bomb. Nope. Is there a B-A-L-M? Is there a balm in Gilead that can heal a sin-sick soul? There is a God that can go and heal a Syrian. There is a God who can heal in Syria just like he can heal in Judah or in Jerusalem. He can heal in Syria. He can heal. Let me put it in our terms. He can heal in South Memphis just like he can heal in Germantown. He can heal over there in China just like he can in America. America ain't got a chokehold on God. He can heal in a club just like he can in a church. I'm going to say that one again because I know it shocked your spiritual equilibrium. He can heal somebody in a club. I'm telling you what I know. I've gotten high before, and the Lord done bypassed the high and spoke to me. Sure did. I've gotten so high before the Lord bypassed the high, seeped through the high. David says it like this, or the psalmist says it like this: if I make my bed in hell, you are there. In Sheol, you are there. If I make it in hell, you are there. There is no boundaries God cannot cross. There are no boundaries that God can't cross. Did you hear what I'm telling you? There are no boundaries God cannot cross. I remember getting high when I was 19, 20 years old, and God would touch my mind while I was high, and I started preaching. I would see thousands of people, and I would be preaching to them, high as a kite. I'm telling you the truth. I would get high. I wasn't saved then, but I was getting high, and while I was getting high, I would go into a trance, and the Lord would start speaking to me, high as a kite, and I started preaching. See, the Lord was telling me I'm going to be a preacher. I just didn't know it. And I could see high as a kite, thousands of people. And I know it wasn't the weed. I know it wasn't. That was God. That was God showing me now as I look back on it that you can't get high enough that I can't reach you. So if you got a son that got a drinking problem, or that got a weed problem, or got a smoking problem, or got a drug addiction or any addiction, God can go beyond it. I know what I'm talking about. Even if you don't understand it, that's the truth. Even if you don't understand it, that's the truth. I'm telling you now. I'm telling you from experience. You can be high as a kite and God will come in and speak to you. And then in your mind, you be knowing it's not the weed, or you know it's not the because you can hear it clear as day. And after a while, I put it down. All right, let's go. Let's go. Don't limit God. Write that down. Do not limit God. If you're taking notes, write this down, that God will go beyond your boundaries. God can go. You cannot limit God. When Elijah, verse 8, but when Elijah, the man of God, heard that the king of Israel had torn his clothes in dismay, he sent this message to him. Why are you so upset? Why are you agitated? Send Naaman to me, and he will learn that there is a true prophet in Israel. That's the reason why God gave him victory, his enemies' victory, so that his enemies could learn that there was a true God in Israel. And then he could in turn go to his people. There's a true prophet. There's a true prophet in Israel. Verse 9, so Naaman went with his horses and chariots. I told you he was rich now. So Naaman went with his horses and his chariots and waited at the door of Elisha's house. But Elisha sent a messenger out to him with this message: go and wash yourself 7 times in the Jordan River. Then your skin will be restored and you will be healed of your leprosy. Watch this here now. Verse 11, but Naaman became angry and stalked away and walked away angrily. I thought he would certainly come out to meet me, he said. I expected him to wave his hand over the leprosy and call on the name of the Lord his God and heal me. Aren't the rivers of Damascus and Abana and Parpar better than any of the rivers of Israel? Why shouldn't I wash in them and be healed? So Naaman turned away and went away in rage. Okay, let's back this up so we can break this down and itemize this. Let's back this up because that was a lot now. The prophet sent his horses, or Naaman went with his horses and chariots, verse 8, and he waited at the door of Elisha's house. But Elisha sent a messenger out to him. Now, Naaman was offended. You don't send no messenger out to me, bruh. I'm a man of high status. I'm a wealthy man. That's why I brought all this gold and silver and all this stuff and food, because I came to buy a miracle. That's a word from the Lord. You better write that down. You can't buy a miracle. You can't buy from God. You can't buy from a man what only God can do. Oh my God, write that down if you're taking notes. You cannot buy from a man what God can do. You cannot buy from a man what only God can do. He tried to buy a miracle from the prophet, and the prophet was only the hands and feet of God. He was only allowing God to use them. But you can't buy what only God can give. You cannot buy what only God can give. Many people think paying their tithes put you in good standing with God. You can't buy his grace. You can't buy his healing. Many people think their money, their fame. Elijah said, I'm not going to treat you any different than I treated that poor widow woman in the previous chapters. I'm not going to treat you any different than I treated a woman. Just because you got a wealth and status and you brave and got a famous name, I don't care about that. That's a problem in the church. We treat people with money better than people who don't have it. James talks about that in the book of James. He says we are hypocrites because we give somebody who's rich the best seat and somebody who's poor the least or the lowest seat. And we're supposed to do rid of that in the church. Elisha sent the messenger. He says, I'm not going to talk to you. I'm going to send my messenger. I've been sending my messenger to everybody else. He did it in the previous chapter. He sent the messenger to her house first before he came. He did it in the previous chapter, sent the messenger out. So why would I treat you any different just because you got money? I told y'all in Bible study last week, I worked at the airport, and what God showed me with working at the airport, he allowed me to carry famous people and to be their personal chauffeur or whatever you call it. And God showed me, I don't care how much money you have. Don't mean nothing to me. You're still a person. And I'm not going to treat you any different than I treat an old woman who ain't got nothing. I told you. I had two famous couples to reach out to me in 2018 to counsel them. My first words were, I don't care about your fame. I don't care about your money. Do not waste my time if you're not serious about your marriage. Ask me, did they reach back out? Nope. Because I sooner or later found out they wanted to use me to put their marriage on some reality show. I didn't even know that. I was just going by what God was leading me to do. Don't waste my time if you're not for real serious about your marriage. I'm not going to treat you any different. My goal at Morning Grove, the place of rebirth, I don't want to treat a minister better than an usher. I don't want to treat an usher better than the musician, or the musicians better than somebody who don't do anything because they can't physically do it. Everybody's going to get the same treatment. He sent the messenger out and told them. So he sent the messenger out with him, and Naaman didn't like that. He was offended by that. How dare you do me like that, bruh? He didn't say that, but I'm trying to put it in our terms so that we can crystallize this thing. And he told him, go and wash yourself 7 times in the Jordan River. Then, look at the process, your skin will be restored. Let's look at this word restored in the Hebrew. It means it will be turned back to its original state, to be turned back. Then your skin will be restored and you will be healed, cured of your leprosy. But Naaman, verse 11, became angry and walked away. I thought he would certainly come out. Watch this here now. If you don't get nothing else out of this Bible study, what I'm about to say is going to help you. What I'm about to say is going to break you free. What I'm about to say is going to break you free. Listen, take your pen out. He says, I expected him to wave his hand. This is Naaman saying, I expected him to wave his hand and to call on the name of the Lord and heal me. He expected him to wave his hands and to call on the name of the Lord. Now, during this time, it was normal for a king or a prophet or somebody like that of prestige to wave their hand over a specific problem, and that problem would be healed or that problem would be fixed. See, they had a superstition. A lot of times we work off of superstition. Step on a crack, you'll break your mama's back. You know it. I stepped on many cracks and my mama's back didn't ever break. Knock on wood. I said at work the other day, man, we haven't had a fight in a long time. The coach gonna tell me, man, Broom, go knock on some wood or something, man. He was dead. I thought he was playing. He was dead serious. Oh, Broom, man. Oh, Broom, go knock on wood, man. Are you crazy? Knocking on wood is not gonna stop these hard-headed children from fighting if they want to fight. Stepping on a crack will not break your mother's back. Splitting a pole was not bad luck. Sweeping somebody's leg with a broom is not bad luck. You just got your leg swept with a broom and you need to go take another shower. That's all it means. Having a black cat is not bad luck. You just got a black cat. These superstitions we believe. And Naaman was expecting a miracle by way of money, by way of superstition, by way of prestige. Your superstitions don't change God's mind. Your superstitions, what you got about God. If God gonna do it, he's gonna do it off one reason and one reason alone, because it want to. Folks came to God, folks came to Jesus in the New Testament, and Jesus would ask them, do you want to be made whole? I don't care what you've been through. I don't care what the superstition is. I don't care what the cultural thing is to do. I don't care what the norm is. Do you want to be made whole? That's a question for you. Do you want it? Stop expecting some superstition. Do you want to be healed? Do you want to be delivered? Do you want to be healed of the past relationships? Do you want to? You can burn all the sage you want. It ain't going to help nothing. I'm not saying do it. I'm just saying. You can believe in all the horoscopes you want to believe in. It ain't going to change nothing. If God don't do it, your horoscope sign ain't going to fix nothing. If God don't do it, the sage ain't going to do nothing. If God doesn't do it, you can go see a psychic. It ain't going to do nothing. If God don't do it, watch this here. If God don't do it, you can even put anointing oil on. If God don't do it, God got to do it. You can burn all the incense you want. If God don't do it, if you don't believe in God doing it, it's not going to happen. Superstitions. He was expecting some wave of a hand or call on the name of the Lord. The prophet said, go dip 7 times in the Jordan River. Why the Jordan River? Because he was expecting, let's read it. The man said, don't split the pole. Right, Nick. All right, watch it. Right. Witchcraft. It ain't going to do it. None of that mess is going to do it. Watch this here. I expected him to wave his hand over the leprosy and call on the name of the Lord his God and healed me. Aren't the rivers? Listen to this. I'm about to drop something on you. Aren't the rivers of Damascus and Abana and Parpar? better than any of the rivers of Israel? Why shouldn't I wash in them and be healed? So Naaman turned and went away in rage a second time. Listen to what his officer says. But his officers tried to reason with him and said, Sir, if the prophet had told you something very difficult, wouldn't you have done it? So you should certainly obey him when he says simply, go and wash and be cured. Hold on. Let's break this thing down because I'm about to drop something on you. He says, aren't the rivers of Damascus, the Abana and the Parpar better than any of the rivers of Israel? See, Parpar means swift. He wanted a concrete, clear, concise, swift answer. How many of us have missed the miracles of God because we were expecting some concrete, swift answer from God, or something that wouldn't make us look like a fool? You see, I used to be in the gym, and you used to have to, my trainer used to tell me, Broom, your core is weak. So to work on my core, he would put me on a balancing ball. And to work on my core, he would make me stand on that balancing ball with one leg. And you want to talk about the most embarrassing thing. And he would do it in front of everybody. And me trying to look cool, I would say, no, coach, I'm not doing that. He says, Broom, if you want your core to get strong, you're going to have to get on the balancing ball with one leg and level out like this here and stand straight with one leg up and don't move. And I would look like a fool, fall off the ball, get back up, fall off again, get back up, and people be laughing at me. But after about a week, I got good at standing on the ball. See, it took embarrassment. It took some foolish things for my core to get stronger. Many of us have missed the miracles of God because we don't want to look messed up. You don't want, let me put it in our terms. You don't want to go to marriage counseling because marriage counseling is going to present a side of your marriage that you did not put on Facebook. You don't want to go and start the business over, or you don't want to go and ask for help because it's going to make you look like you're not as rich as you make yourself look on Facebook or social media. You see, God got a miracle for you, but it's going to take you to humble yourself. This is what God was trying to get Naaman to do. Humble yourself. Yeah, y'all got rivers in Syria. Yeah, you got rivers. But that's not what I want you to do. I want you to humble yourself, Naaman. I want you to humble yourself. Can you humble yourself with all your money? Can you humble yourself with all your victories in war? Can you humble yourself with all of your prestige? Can you humble yourself? Can you humble yourself and you a deacon? Can you humble yourself and you 80 and the pastor is 40? Can you humble yourself and you 40 to a 17-year-old? Can you humble yourself to your child and ask your child, how is my parenting? Do I need to get better at parenting? See, God will heal relationships if you humble yourself. If you humble yourself, your wife may have some good ideas, fellas. If you humble yourself, woman, God may have a leader that he sent you. If you humble yourself, you keep claiming you want to be in your soft era, well, give it a try. You keep claiming you want a good woman, men, give the one you got to try. Humble yourself and listen. Humble yourself and get out of your pride. Get out of your title. He was caught up in prestige, money, titles. Get out of that junk. If you want God to bless you, you're going to have to get out of that. If you want God to bless you, you're going to have to get out of this prestige and you're going to have to humble yourself. Why can't I go wash in the rivers among my people? Now, I'm already your enemy. Now you're going to tell me to humble myself before the enemy? You're going to tell me to humble myself before the enemy? Can I be honest with you? I had a job interview with Chick-fil-A in 2014, 13, 14, somewhere around there. Had a job interview with Chick-fil-A. And the lady was saying, Mr. Broom, you dress, I love the way you came to the interview, dressed nice, X, Y, and Z. You interviewed well. You was one of the best interviews I've ever done. This is what she told me at the Chick-fil-A off Riverdale in Winchester. It's about 10 years ago, maybe, yeah, about 10, 12 years ago. And I kept saying to myself, I don't want to work for Chick-fil-A for no $12 an hour and $13 an hour. I'm a grown man. I'm a this, I'm a that, I'm a this, I'm a blah, 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 blah. I'm a that, I'm a this, I'm a da, 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 da. So I botched the interview. I never showed up for the final part. I was hired. All I had to do was show up and do the paperwork. I was done. I botched the interview. I didn't show up. And it wasn't long after that I read the story. No, I had been read the story of Junior Bridgman, but I was reminded of the story of Junior Bridgman, who in the off season of the NBA would work at Wendy's. And it was humiliating for him to work at Wendy's. But he was going into Wendy's not to make extra money. He was going to study the system because he kept telling himself that one day I'm going to own Wendy's. And Junior Bridgman, who played for the Milwaukee Bucks, when he retired, opened up over 400 and some food chains across America and became one of the wealthiest business black men, but it took embarrassment. It took him humbling himself. Here is a famous NBA player of that time working in Wendy's asking, may I take your order? Do you want salt on your fries? What kind of condiments you want? But nobody saw the end. They only saw him doing that. But the brother ended up owning over 400 and some food chains. And the Lord spoke to me and said, had you taken on that Chick-fil-A job, I would have elevated you. This is what the Lord told me. I would have elevated you. And you probably wouldn't have owned one, but you would have been making six figures by now. High six figures. High. This was back in 2015 when the Lord told me this. But I'm so prideful. I don't want nobody from my high school to walk in and take an order from me. And they're going to be thinking, Broom done posted here a businessman, but he work at Chick-fil-A. Look at him. See, that was my pride talking. See, y'all think I don't struggle with that stuff. I can talk about it because I struggle with it. Pride and ego. I could have been possibly owning a Chick-fil-A by now. Or at the very least, over one. Because I spoke with the owner of that Chick-fil-A. That man told me them folks do over $5 million a year in profit. In profits. That one location. I could have been a wealthy man had I just dropped my pride and worked at Chick-fil-A. So what? Who cares that Broom works at Chick-fil-A? So what? Because I know me. I would have elevated myself. There was not a job. I told you God brought me from pushing wheelchairs at the airport to escorting superstars. God would have elevated me. But my pride and my ego. What have you missed because of your pride and your ego? So what? You are a deacon. So what? You are a musician. So what? You got all these titles. So what? Humble yourself. So what? You a pastor, Broom. Humble yourself. You may learn something from an usher. You may learn something from a Sunday school teacher. I learned something Sunday from Deacon Payne. I learned something Sunday in Sunday school. Being the pastor don't make me the smartest. It just makes me the leader. But the leader ain't always the smartest. It's not always, yeah, come on now, let's keep it real. Humble yourself. God or the prophet told him to go wash 7 times. Told him to go wash 7 times. And here he go talking about, how come I can't wash? He wanted a swift. Papar means swift, the river of Papar in Abanal. He wanted a clear, concrete, and swift healing. Sometimes your miracle don't come swiftly. It comes through a process. Sometimes your miracle don't come like that. You got to work a process. You got to do something sometimes. You got to take your blood pressure medicine. You got to take your shots if you're diabetic. You got to change your eating habits if you want to lose weight. You have to do that. You got to do it. You. Let me say it with a deep voice. You have to do it. You got to do it. You got to get up and go put the application in if you're going to get hired. You got to do it. You have to do it. You. The prophet told him to humble yourself and go and dip and go and wash yourself 7 times in the river. And it took somebody else to tell him. Look, bro, if he told you to do some complicated thing, you would have done it. But he told you to do something simple, you won't do it. I cannot tell you how many times I've told married couples, I've told business owners what to do. I've told people who want to start live streams what to do, and they won't do it because it's too simple. Because in their mind, there is no way you're that successful. And it was that simple. Yep, it was that simple. All I did was went to the schools, put in an application, and I became a vendor with Shelby County, and I went to schools for free speaking. Dog, Broom, how you do that fast? Nothing. I applied myself. I humbled myself and did it for free. And now I was getting paid, and now I'm getting paid to do it. At one point, I was making $2,500 an hour with Shelby County until the pandemic came. 1 hour. You got to humble yourself and seek God's face for the answer. You better humble yourself. Every answer that you come across is not going to be swift. It's not going to be concrete. Sometimes you got to trust the process. Write that down. Every answer God has for me, for you, will not come swiftly, will not be concrete. You have to trust the process. When I was praying about where I wanted God to send me, I didn't know what I was going to do. I didn't know nothing about a morning grove, but God walked me through step by step. God told me what to do step by step. When I got to the next step, okay, then I let that step work its way. And then I do the other thing. And then God would lead me to do that. I stayed on my knees praying, fasting and praying on what the next step was. Sometimes God didn't answer me until the moment. My partner told me, man, go fill out that app. Man, he said, man, go turn your resume in at Morning Grove. I said, man, I'm not going to another church with morning in it. He said, man, go down there. It might be what God has for you. When he said that, I said, well, heck, what can I lose? I took my resume. My resume was only 3 pages long at that point. I was shortchanging myself because I wasn't adding. God said, put everything on it. By the time I got through with that resume, I had 4, 5, 6 pages full of stuff. God said, don't leave nothing out. Put it all on there. You got a book, you got ministries, put it all out there. Everything you do, put it on there. Everything you've done, put it on there. By the time I got done with that resume, it was 5, 6, 7 pages long. And I brought it up, jumped the fence at Morning Grove, dropped it in, and I was the one ending up getting it. Had to humble myself. Humble yourself. Humble yourself. I don't care if you're older than me. Do you trust me to be your pastor? I don't care if you can preach better than me. Do you trust me to be your pastor? Sometimes you're not going to understand what I'm saying, but do you trust me that I've put in the work to study? Do you trust me? You got to humble yourself. I have to humble myself. We want something quick and complicated. God said this is going to be slow and easy. We want something quick and complicated, but God said, nope, I got something slow and easy. Slow is dip 7 times. Easy is go to the Jordan River. You're already down here. He told Moses, what are you talking to me for? Lift up the staff in your hand. That's easy. Easy. Moses says, well, how? What am I going to use? God said, look at your staff. Easy. Well, Moses said, look, God, I can't speak. He said, don't worry about it. I got a mouthpiece for you, your own brother, Aaron. See, we come up with all these excuses. God already got it. That's why he approached you. He already got it worked out. Just follow the process. Write this down. Trust the process. Trust the process. Trust the process. Trust the diet. Trust the process. Humble yourself to God and trust the process. The book of James says, draw near to God and God will draw near to you. You got to humble yourself to draw near to God. God resists the proud, but he lifts up the humble. Pride cometh before a fall, but the humble God will lift up. Last couple of verses. But his officers tried to reason with him and said, sir, if the prophet had told you to do something very difficult, wouldn't you have done it? So you should certainly obey him when he simply says, go and wash and be cured. So Naaman went to the Jordan River and dipped himself, washed himself 7 times as the man of God had instructed, and his skin became as healthy as the skin of a young child, and he was healed. His situation had finally matched the proclamation. I told you his name meant pleasantness, but he wasn't pleasant privately. So his private situation had finally matched his public reputation. So he had healed. Now watch what Naaman says. Then Naaman, verse 15, and his entire party went back to find the man of God. They stood before him, and Naaman said, now I know that there is no God in all the world except in Israel. That is why God allowed the enemy to win in that particular situation, because he wanted to show, number one, that my love and my grace and my healing power is not just for the children of Israel. It's for anybody who wants it. See, there were children in Israel with leprosy who didn't even look for God to heal them. They were looking to other gods. But here is Naaman coming, who was not a part of God's people, looking for God. We got 4 minutes. Let's keep going. So then Naaman said, now I know that there is no God in all the world except in Israel. So please accept a gift from your servant. But Elisha replied, as surely as the Lord lives, whom I serve, I will not accept any gifts. And though Naaman urged him to take the gift, Elisha refused. Then Naaman said, all right, but please allow me to load 2 of my mules with earth from this place, and I will take it back home with me. From now on, I will never again offer burnt offerings or sacrifices to any other God except the Lord. However, may the Lord pardon me in this one thing. Watch this here. Don't you miss this important part. May the Lord pardon me in this one thing. When my master, the king, goes into the temple of the god Rimmon to worship there and leans on my arm, may the Lord pardon me when I bow too. Go in peace, Elisha said. So Naaman started home again. Don't you miss this, saints? He asked, when I go home. Now he just acknowledged there's no other God in Israel. There's no other God in the world except, the God of Israel. But he says, pardon me in this one thing. When I go back home, I still got to serve my master. I still got to serve my people. I still got to serve my master. And my master, he goes to the temple to worship the god of Rimmon. I still got to serve him. Can you pardon me that when I bow my head, I'm not worshiping that God, I'm just doing my job. And the prophet neither confirms or denounces. He just says, all right, you'll be pardoned. Sometimes, saints, it's good to be tolerant and pardon. Somebody may be saved, but they work at a bar. Somebody may be saved and work at a casino. Somebody may be saved and work at the club. They might do security at a strip club. Well, they just doing security because they got to feed their family. It don't mean they looking at the women. Uh-oh. They might be saved, love the Lord, all of that. But they do security at a strip club. Or they work at a bar. Or they work at the casino as a dealer. It don't mean that they're doing that stuff. Sometimes allow people to go out into the world and still work their jobs and still do their job. It doesn't mean that they're doing it. I know you said, let not your good be evil spoken of, but you got to have a critical thinking mind too. You got to think critically with some stuff. I didn't say it was okay, but I didn't say it was wrong either. Because the Bible says if a man don't work, he don't eat. If a woman don't work, they don't eat. The prophet has enough sense to know that this man is a new convert. He still got to do his job. He still got to go back to his people. He can't stay with us. He got to go back to his people. Let me put it in our terms. The church can't pay your bills. Go get a job somewhere. And if it happens to be at a club, if it happens to be somewhere where they quote unquote not doing right, that's all right. Ask the Lord to give you a little power. Trust me, he'll give it to you. He will give it to you. That's it. God. There's some more to this story. But we'll talk about that later. Read the rest of this story, please. Read it in the New Living Translation. It is interesting. I challenge you to read the rest of this story, the rest of this chapter tonight. I'm not going to read it. I intended on, but I think we did what we were supposed to do. Read the rest of the chapter 731. God bless you. Thank you for tuning in. Let me check in with y'all. I see you, Minister William, Deacon Mose Payne, Miss Bruce, preacher standing, listen to his voice, and in time, the evaluation that God has will blow your mind. I agree with that. Minister Williams, humbleness is the way up. God bless you. Miss Deborah, humble yourself. Chandra Freeman, truth, amen. Nick, I see you. Everybody who's tuned in, God bless you. I see you. If I miss your name, charge it to my head, not my heart. We had a wonderful time. This is why I tell people, come to the building, man. If you missed Sunday, you missed an atmosphere that the live stream just don't catch. I'm sorry. Go back and watch the live. But it had nothing to do with what we experienced in person. I'm telling you, it was wonderful. The atmosphere was wonderful for breakthrough, was ripe for breakthrough if you wanted it. If you needed a prayer answered, God gave the word. If you needed an emotional breakthrough, those men sang to release the burdens off your heart. The prayers, the atmosphere, the ministry. It was simple, but it was powerful. If you missed this past Sunday, you can watch the stream. Please go watch it, but it don't capture an inkling of what we experienced in person. It was wonderful. That's why I urge people, do not miss if you can. I was tired Sunday. I had got home late from a party I worked and things of that nature. That's another thing about being tolerant. I'm a pastor. I work parties where, shoot, I can't tell you what goes on at these parties. And somebody may look at me and say, well, that's a pastor. What you doing here? I'm working, bro. I'm working. Them folk pay me $1,000 sometime for one booth. I'm working. When I leave, I go home. And I mean, man, Sunday was wonderful, man. But yeah, if you can, man, get here in person, man. I was tired. I want to stay home Sunday. I don't care if it was Mother's Day. I want to stay my butt home. I was tired. I got home late and didn't get to sleep. I had to go home, finish studying and all this kind of stuff. I didn't get no more than 3 hours of sleep. I went to bed about 2 o'clock. I was up at 4:30 and had been up since 4:30. I said, well, ain't no sense of going back to sleep. Got to church at 8:30, 8:45. And it was, I'm glad, man. It was wonderful. Fourth Sunday, church anniversary, fourth Sunday. Come on out, man. Let's celebrate the church and the history of the church. Fourth Sunday. If you're paying attention to your calendars, it's on the calendars. Fourth Sunday, anniversary, church anniversary. Nothing long and drawn out. We just want to take some time and just celebrate the history of the church. And but also finish reading this chapter, 2 Kings chapter 5, the rest of the chapter. Read the whole chapter again if you want to, but start with verse 16 and keep on reading the rest of the chapter. I think you'll be blessed by it. It's a good lesson, a great lesson on greed and deception and lying and all of that kind of stuff. And so God bless you, man. God bless you. See y'all Sunday. Children's church start this Sunday, but they're not going to do actual children's church. It's going to be more so just another meet and greet, but be on time. Get your babies here on time. And I'm excited about the direction of the church. It's a slow process, but it's a show process. And I'm excited. I'm loving where I am. I'm loving who's with me, who's with us. I'm loving it. And I'm asking God to both add to the church and to grow the church in every aspect that he sees fit. God bless you. Talk to you. See you Sunday morning. I'm looking for another experience. I'm telling you, I'm expecting some miracles. The last month in church has been wonderful, and I'm expecting God to keep doing what God does. God bless you. I'm going home to eat me some baked chicken and watch me